Coming into the season, Nebraska and Penn State was supposed to be this monumental matchup for both programs. Penn State's fired James Franklin, and Nebraska sits at 7-3, which isn't bad, but not where they wanted to be. I think a lot of Nebraska fans expected this team to have 1 or 0 losses coming into this game, and a lot of people at Penn State expected them to be competing for the college football playoff. Neither of those things have happened, but this is still a big game. Penn State is still on track to be bowl eligible, but they need to win their last 2 games. Nebraska is going to be without Dylan Raiola for the rest of the year, but they're trying to finish with a strong end to their season to be able to finish 9-3 and get into whatever they want to look at for a bowl game, and also have a strong offseason, build that momentum for the future of Matt Rule. Now, a lot of people are focusing on the quarterback position for Nebraska. TJ Lateef did not start out well. I think it was a big time concern right off the bat for him, but it's also his first experience, and it's not exactly going to go really well for most quarterbacks, especially young freshman quarterbacks. Now, when you look at TJ Lateef and his skill set, you know that he's capable of exciting things. It's just that when you're thrust into a role like he was against USC, it wasn't going to go well. That being said, they still almost won that game. They lost by 4. And Lateef, obviously, the stat line isn't great. 5 of 7 for 7 yards. It's pretty incredible to honestly do. But you always wondered, okay, well, is that what we're getting going forward, or can he bounce back? Last week against UCLA on the road, you saw him or 2 weeks ago, you saw him step up a little bit better than what we saw before. Now, this is going to be a much bigger game. You have, I think, one of the better defensive lines you're going to see, one of the better defenses that Nebraska is going to see all year. Just because Penn State is 4-6 does not mean that they are no good. This is still a very talented team, and a team that's playing very hard. You look at what they've done since James Franklin's been fired. It's still full of losses, but they win against Michigan State, and all of a sudden they're 4-6 with games against Nebraska and Rutgers. If they win this game, I think a lot of people feel confident about what they could do to get to a bowl game. Again, this is still a really talented team. This is still a very good defense that is playing with passion. And you have to give credit to James Franklin for building that. He built a culture of guys that aren't going to quit. They're not going to give up. And even though their head coach isn't there, they are still playing really hard. You could go down the list of this defense. We'll start with Denai Dennis Sutton. You look at what he's able to do at the next level. He is a problem. The linebackers are deep. Zane Durant is still a problem in the interior. So if you think that just because Penn State is struggling doesn't mean that it means that they're going to just kind of coast, you have it wrong. This Penn State defense is still a very good defense, and still a group that's playing, again, with a ton of intensity. And Nebraska knows that they're going into a tough environment. They're going on the road to face a Penn State team that still has goals. They still want to make a bowl game. It's not going to be the best season, but it's still a team that wants to achieve that goal. They want to win this football game. They want to be better than what we've seen. And it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. This is going to be a team that's very strong in what they do, and they're, even though they're going through a bit of a transition, their defense can keep them in football games. Now, for Nebraska is going to have to figure out, how do we get Lateef in rhythm? How do we get our playmakers the football? Emmett Johnson has been an absolute stud, and I don't think he gets the recognition that he deserves, but he's been having a great year. 1,131 yards, 11 touchdowns. He also has 36 catches for 300 yards and 3 scores. Now, when we came into this year, we didn't really know what to expect from this rushing attack. Emmett Johnson was full of talent. We knew he was capable, but we didn't know if he was going to have this type of season. He has been an absolute phenomenal piece for this offense, and he's been a big reason for their consistency as well. Now, the passing attack is going to have to still kind of work through things. Lateef has to find chemistry with his wide receivers. He's suddenly thrust into the starting role, and that means that his wide receivers have to learn his rhythm, his timing, the way he throws the ball, the speed at which he delivers the football. That's always something that you're going to have to figure out. And it's going to be a bit of a transition, and unfortunately, you still have to do that on the road against a very good Penn State defense. For Nebraska's defense, I think that you'd be mistaken to think that this is going to be an easier matchup. Just because Drew Aller is out does not mean that this Penn State team can't do a lot of damage on offense. This is still going to be a tough group to slow down, and the rushing attack is a big reason why. Now, while they didn't have the year that we anticipated, I think some people expected Katron Allen and Nick Singleton to have a potential Heisman worthy year. And while they haven't done that, they've still been big pieces for this offense, and we've seen big plays from both of them. Katron Allen's been the more consistent player, 163 carries, 917 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Singleton, not as much, 107 carries, 419 yards. So the difference in yards per carry from Allen to Singleton is 5.6 to 3.9. 9 touchdowns for Singleton. He's also been a little bit more involved in the passing attack, 19 catches for 145 yards and 1 touchdown. Both of them are phenomenal players. I think that they still very much have the talent to be able to make things happen. And especially if you're trying to make a bowl game, Penn State's got the right duo at the running back room to be able to handle that. Now, the passing attack, we thought maybe could take a step, but even when Drew Aller was in, it was not the case. That was not happening, and that's been kind of disappointing. Trevor Pena came in, and he leads the team with 369 yards, but he has not been the explosive threat that we anticipated. Devontae Ross has been super underrated, but again, another guy that has not elevated this passing attack. Kyron Hudson, I thought that he could potentially be a guy that was a big time player, but we haven't seen it from him either. It's just been a very average passing attack, and that's been kind of difficult to watch. Now, in terms of who wins this game, Penn State's playing at home. Penn State is very much a tough team to beat, and they are a motivated team. Latif has a lot of work to do. So if I'm picking this game, I'm going with Penn State at home.